Hey everyone, and welcome to my very first YouTube video review of Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. Ace Combat 7 is the latest in a line of arcade air combat games by Bandai Namco. It's a fun return to the skies with a lot of positives that make it a good game, but does lack in several areas. The campaign story spans across 20 missions. Playing on hard mode, it took about 12 to 13 hours or so to complete my first playthrough. The story follows the events of a war broken out between two nations, Osea and Eurasia, over continental supremacy of Usea, and a coveted space elevator meant to be a sign of peace and prosperity on the continent from the preceding war. Throughout the campaign, the near photorealistic cutscenes bounce between different viewpoints of people on both sides of the war. Jumping into the cockpit, you play the character of Trigger, the silent protagonist. You start out as a rookie taking your first flight, and on to the trials and tribulations of war in the sky. Your character goes through all the phases of being loved and hated by their own country, in a corny, albeit unique and interesting way. The story, in my opinion, takes some time to get going, and can feel like retreaded tropes at times, but by the end has a special charm that has you invested by the end of the last mission. Especially if you have played any previous Ace Combat game, the controls will feel familiar and intuitive. Although I played on a PlayStation pad, there is a flight stick compatibility available for the game. Your basic loadout will always consist of your nose cannon for close encounters, standard air-to-air missiles, and a special weapon of your choosing. Those special weapons span across long-range air-to-air missiles, guided and smart bombs, and even anti-ship rockets. Most of the special weapons allow for targeting multiple targets at once. Generally, combat is smooth and easy, albeit simple. Most of the game comes down to getting on an enemy's 6, get tone and lock for your missiles, and firing away 2 shots usually does the trick. Much of the difficulty of the game comes down to how many enemies are on screen and the objectives of the mission. The game does a good job of varying up the objectives enough to keep the gameplay relatively fresh throughout. 2 missions highlight just how well done mission challenges can be. One is where you are tasked with taking out fuel trucks in a sandstorm. Due to the storm, they only appear on radar for a few seconds. You need to figure out A, where the trucks are with the limited information, and B, using the limited sight, be able to target the trucks to take them out. Due to the storm, they only appear on radar for a few seconds. You need to figure out A, where the trucks are with this limited information, and B, using the limited sight, be able to target the trucks to take them out. Another mission features a challenge where you must first identify targets as friend or foe before you can engage them. These are examples of the fun challenges in the game that give you a sense of accomplishment when you finally complete those missions. Negative side to these missions, however. Playing on hard mode at least, at many times felt like it was a missile dodge fest. The game used drones in several missions. When these drones appear, they generally swarm you and can move in ways you simply cannot follow. This combined with a dozen or more on screen at a time, there are periods where your objective changes from completing the mission to simply surviving. There were moments where my screen stayed red with the "Warning, incoming missile" was up for at least 20 seconds. I personally don't like this type of enemy and missile spam because in my opinion it adds artificial difficulty. What exasperates the problem is that every mission has a timer in which you need to complete it. In the instances of escort missions, the problem can be further magnified when you are so busy dodging missiles there is limited chance to protecting the target, resulting in a few mission fails. In an act of mercy, when you do fail, you start from the last checkpoint with full health and armaments restocked. Another issue that comes up mission after mission are your AI teammates. Every now and then they will get a kill and help you, but pretty much from start to end, you are on your own to handle every enemy in every aspect of the mission. There is something the game does very well regarding teammates, however, and that's when it comes to audio. Ace Combat 7 has one of the best and immersive audio and chatter around. Every mission, there is constant and unique chatter as you progress. Of course, if you fail, you will hear repeat chatter as you redo sections, but considering how long many missions can be, and there is almost constant chatter during each one, it leaves you feeling like you are part of a squadron with real personalities and in a living world. Much of the time, you are focused on what's in front of you, but there is a lot of great story told over comms. The musical score is also well done, well placed, and gives you an awesome sense of being in an action movie with you as the star. There are no less than 27 unlockable aircraft in the game. The planes range from the classics like the F-4 Phantom, the F-14 Tomcat, and MiG-33, all the way to the present with the F-35, F-22, and Su-57. Notably missing from the full roster is the F-117 Stealth Bomber. Each plane is near photorealistic both inside and outside the cockpit. When flying in third-person view, the planes look and perform as they should. F-14 wing position changes depending on speed, and the F-22 missile bays open and close as you fire and reload missiles. In cockpit view, many of the instruments work, adding that little extra attention to detail and immersion. After completing the game, you also unlock the ability to change the skins and emblems on the planes. Most of the extra skins are unlocked by completing specific challenges with each plane. There is a pretty robust upgrade tree in the game. As you unlock them, using currency acquired at the end of each mission, you can equip the abilities on your aircraft. These range from added speed, maneuverability, faster reload speed, more damage, or even de-icing, which helps you fly in cloud cover for longer without icing over. Although you will most likely stick with aircraft handling and upgrades that improve your standard missiles, there's a lot to unlock and it helps give reason for a second playthrough. After completing the campaign, you unlock a higher difficulty called Ace. You also unlock the ability to change plane skins, replay previous missions, and a free play mode where you can fly around each map with no enemies or no objectives. Multiplayer mode is fun, but is lacking in content. Matches are either Battle Royale, which is just free for all, or Team Deathmatch. Games are either 8 players or 2 teams of 4. The only objective is to score more points than the other team by getting more kills and causing more damage to the other team's aircraft. Matches are short, 5-minute affairs, where the score limit is rarely reached. Very similar to campaign, they feel at times like you were simply flying in a circle to avoid missiles and locks, while you attempt to get a few shots off on enemies in between dodging. I found it fun in short bursts, but ultimately lacking in any strategizing or even giving us an objective, other than taking out opponents. Multiplayer could use an objective-based game where, say, whoever takes out the most NPC targets first wins, for example. One positive to multiplayer is that there is a whole separate unlock tree for abilities that can only be used in multiplayer. This does add to its longevity, but just how long is yet to be seen. There will be a small hardcore group of Ace Combat players who will stick around, but long-term is questionable. Overall, it's an enjoyable game and a fun ride. The campaign is long enough and the story unique enough to satisfy most people's urges to take to the skies again. If that's not enough, you have Ace Mode to truly test your piloting abilities, and multiplayer to sharpen your skill versus the best online. If you want to really get the full flight experience, there is a flight stick compatibility as well as VR mode for PS4 VR owners. In my opinion, Ace Combat 7 is worth your time checking out. Giving this game a numerical score, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like and subscribe to be the first to know when more content goes live. You can catch me live on Twitch at Jetfire74. Thanks.